During an interview with agent Rick Dicker, Tony Ridinger recounts how he and Violet Parr agreed to a date after meeting at a track meet. During the encounter, the supervillain Underminer emerges, causing chaos. Tony, unable to escape, witnesses the Incredibles in action. He recognizes Violet, who ends up alone with Jack. Frustrated, Violet reveals her identity to Tony, who feels regretful and wishes to forget the incident. The Underminer causes chaos by drilling through bank buildings and looting vaults. Mr. Incredible confronts him, leading to a battle. Meanwhile, the family of superheroes works together to stop the out-of-control drill from causing further destruction. Elastigirl, Dash, and Violet assist in protecting bystanders and preventing the drill from reaching City Hall. They ultimately stop the drill, but find themselves surrounded by police afterward. Rick Dicker informs the family that the super relocation program is shut down, and they have 2 weeks left in their hotel before being on their own. They discuss their uncertain future over Chinese takeout, and tensions rise when discussing the ban on superhero activities. Later, Lucius offers them shelter and reveals a meeting with business tycoon Winston Deaver. At DevTech headquarters, Winston and his sister Evelyn express admiration for the family's heroics and propose a plan to change public perception of supers. They offer them new super suits with cameras and plan for Elastigirl to be the first public superhero. While Bob is eager, Helen is hesitant about the plan. Back at the hotel, Helen expresses concerns about balancing superhero duties with the needs of their children. Bob urges her to consider the opportunity to change the world for their family's sake. Ultimately, they agree to Elastigirl's involvement in Winston's plan. The family moves into a house provided by Winston, and Helen receives a new supersuit designed by Alexander Galbaki. She discovers a motorcycle in the garage courtesy of Evelyn. Bob takes charge of the children's daily routines and responsibilities, while Helen begins her hero work. Despite Bob's efforts, he struggles to connect with Dash over homework, and Jack's powers create unexpected challenges. At the hovertrain unveiling ceremony, Elastigirl witnesses the train malfunctioning and takes action to stop it. After boarding the train and confronting the engineer, she discovers a mysterious message indicating the return of a villain known as the Screenslaver. Bob struggles to manage Jack's newfound powers. As Bob dozes off, Jack's powers cause chaos, and Bob discovers the extent of his abilities. Despite the challenges, Bob reassures Helen that everything is fine and steps up to help Dash with his math homework before school. During Elastigirl's interview with news anchor Chad Brentley, chaos erupts as Chad and others are hypnotized by the Screenslaver's control. Helen, recognizing the danger, takes action to save the ambassador from a hijacked aerocade, displaying her heroic abilities by thwarting the Screenslaver's plans and ensuring the ambassador's safety. The next morning, Bob consoles Violet after her disappointing encounter with Tony, explaining that Rick had erased Tony's memory to protect their secret identities. Feeling betrayed, Violet decides to give up being a hero and attempts to destroy her supersuit, but it proves indestructible, leaving her frustrated and disillusioned. Helen returns to DevTech feeling proud of her accomplishments, but remains wary of the Screenslaver's threat. Winston shares news of their successful plan to garner support for superheroes, but Helen's concerns persist. Inside, she meets other superheroes and discusses a plan with Evelyn to lure out the Screenslaver. Meanwhile, Bob attempts to confront the consequences of Tony's memory wipe, leading to an awkward encounter with Tony at a restaurant where he works. Violet becomes embarrassed and leaves the restaurant, feeling overwhelmed by the situation. In a dramatic showdown, Elastigirl confronts the Screenslaver on a transmission tower, eventually defeating him. Back at home, Bob deals with household chaos, including Dash's new math lesson and a surprising discovery about the incredible car. Amidst the commotion, Jack's unpredictable powers cause further havoc, leading Violet to consider calling Lucius for help. Lucius witnesses Jack's unpredictable powers, prompting Bob to seek help from Edna. Bob confides in Edna about his struggles and leaves Jack in her care. Meanwhile, at the Deaver's party, Winston announces the legalization of supers and plans for a televised agreement signing on his ship. Helen grows suspicious about the ease of capturing the Screenslaver and discovers that Evelyn may be involved, leading to a tense confrontation where Evelyn forces hypnotic goggles onto Helen. Bob expresses gratitude to Violet for taking care of him and visits Edna, who presents a suit designed to control Jack's powers. After testing the suit's effectiveness, Bob takes Jack and prepares to leave. Meanwhile, Helen awakens to find herself trapped by Evelyn, who reveals herself as the true Screenslaver and divulges her plans to use Helen. Back at home, Bob showcases Jack's new suit to the kids, demonstrating his controlled powers. Upon receiving a distress call from Evelyn, Bob prepares to leave, instructing Lucius to watch the kids and bring his own super suit. Dash, suspicious of Bob's sudden departure, activates the car's remote control, while Violet prepares the family to don their super suits. They are then confronted by the controlled supers at the door. As Bob and Helen are manipulated by Evelyn, Dash, and Violet attempt to rescue them. Using the Incredible, they chase after the ship and manage to land safely on deck with the help of the car's ejector seats. Meanwhile, Jack goes missing, prompting Dash and Violet to track him down. While Dash races after Jack, Violet confronts Void, who tries to incapacitate her with portals. As chaos ensues on the ship, Dash and Violet follow Jack to the bridge. However, their parents and Frozone attack them under Evelyn's control. Violet uses a force field for protection, while Jack floats through the air and lands in Elastigirl's arms. Momentarily confused, Jack rips off her goggles, freeing her from Evelyn's control. In turn, Helen removes the goggles from Mr. Incredible and Frozone, freeing them as well. As the ship is brought safely to a stop, Helen and Bob reflect on Jack's multitude of powers. Evelyn is taken into custody, but Helen remains unfazed by her enemy's remark, knowing that saving her life doesn't justify her actions. And days later, a judge rules to make supers legal again. At school, Violet approaches Tony and reintroduces herself, leading to a conversation where they get to know each other again. The Parr family, suited up as the Incredibles, head to the theater in their Incredi wagon. As they witness a police chase, Violet sends Tony in to save her a seat while they gear up. The car transforms, and they speed off for another superhero adventure together.